Hello everybody, this is Kanuki, and welcome to week 1, round 1 of Division 5D in the G-Man. And we'll see what we've got here in terms of our results from the first week. It was, first up, very high heels, the Dark Elves, taking a 1-0 victory over the Wretched Wanderers. So that would be the Nurgle of Old Yeller against the Dark Elves of Bunk. And what did we have in this game? Well, it was certainly an entertaining one, probably not for Old Yeller, though. We had some pretty good initial luck from the Nurgle, making good use of their POWs, but not getting many removals early on. Some good fouling action and foul appearance, proccing quite a lot during the game. But the Nurgle were able to get pretty much closed down on their own drive on the right side of their own flank, with most of their strong pieces like the warriors and the beasts of Nurgle effectively tied up by the Dark Elf linemen. Dark Elves were able to screen off quite well. And pretty much the end of the drive was a 1 in 9 from the Nurgle blitz to try to open up some space and for the ball carrier to sneak through, but that was shut down. And the Delves were able to get a double surf in return, just for good measure. Going into the Delves drive, the Delves themselves did get a bit split on the and sort of shuffled off to the side on their own right flank, but we were able to see the classic Old Yeller honey trap gap. It can't be an accident at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, to see Old Yeller opening up this kind of space for his enemies to try to squeeze through and then able to close that down. But Bump sort of resisted it for a little while, but then eventually opened up that space and was able to reposition, thanks to his increased speed over the Nurgle, to safely screen down in the Nurgle half towards the end zone, and leave the Nurgle completely in the dust to drive in the 1-0 late score on turn 15. And I just have to say, in summary, for this game, that baby Nurgle look pretty abysmal to start out with. So good luck for Old Yellen trying to come back from that, and better luck next time. But once you get some of those levels started to roll, I'm sure that the team will start to come together. All right. Let's move on to the next round, where we saw Dreamify's Dream Guard, his Chaos, come up against We See Dead People Again, the Undead of Grimnir Rotgut. And we had the Chaos kicking off, getting kicked too, and having the first drive along the right side again, and the Undead weren't quite able to screen off a side. And the Chaos pretty much in control of their drive from the beginning, just using that strength that they have to push down. Of course, the Undead do outstrength them generally, but without a lot of guard yet on the We See Dead People Again team. We did see just before the Chaos took their turn 8 score, they did take that somewhat risky extra blitz, but this time it did pay off, hitting the Niggled Ghoul and getting a movement bust on the Ghoul. So we have to wonder if Grimnir will be keeping that Ghoul around in his present state. On the Undead drive, the Undead balled up pretty tightly in the center of the pitch, and in a very tight cage and a cage around the cage, which allowed the Chaos to pretty effectively screen off and also close down a lot of their lateral movement. I think we saw the experience of Dreamify carrying the day here, getting multiple players based on the ball towards the end of the Undead drive, and the Ghoul then basically has to potato away, leading to an eventual sack from a warrior. But the hero strength zombie catches the ball. However, Dreamify still able to shut down that potential score and take the win there. A few other takeaways. We had some pretty disappointing mummies overall in this game, especially in the first half, really unable to get anything in the way of a POW, even with 3 dice. Started to change a bit in the second, at least from the line of scrimmage. And yeah, lots of GFIs we saw, which takes us to our theme of the week.
In his GFIs. Oh, and GFI is bad. Oh. Hey, that's a small consolation for us. Oh, it's negated! Oh! Oh! Oh, come on! What was that? Oh, guy! Oh, boy! Oh, my! What the... Oh, no! Can't believe that! Oh! Oh! That was unfair!
To get a warrior and a cage corner. Makes some sense. Okay, it doesn't get a knockdown, but he can follow if he wants to. Doesn't. Alright, fair enough. Oh wow. I don't like that GFI. That seems unnecessary. Oh wow. Punished. I could one dice him and on a knockdown have a hit on the ball. Guess maybe I should do that. Ooh, GFI fell. He does GFI a little too much, although this is excessive punishment. This is excessive punishment, doing a snake again. This is the second snake GFI this game.
And a little spoiler there, we saw some of the action from the third game of our round this week with the Horror Hordes. That would be Jester 77's Necro, taking a big 2-0 victory over Viking Cop with his Marvelous Mayhem Pro Elves. And looking at that game, we had a really good start, I thought, from Viking Cop, really being able to control the space and the pitch on the Necro drive, and at least initially, and actually getting some good removals, including some nice juicy fouls and a blitzer to take a blitz from the Mighty Blow Blitzer on turn 1 already to take out the Mighty Blow Wolf with a KO, and he stayed out for a good, I think, almost all of the game there. And but eventually the Necro were able to get stuck in down one flank and manage a really nice chain push to clear a path. So a bit disappointing for Viking Cop that he wasn't able to shut down the score, and even more disappointing that he wasn't able to get the draw from the 2-turn despite even despite getting sacked on that, but one on the dodge out eventually does in the chance for his ability to get a return score in. And then starting out in the second half, we saw Viking Cop perhaps a bit overconfident from his removal game and ability to control the pitch in the first half, really heavily basing up the flesh golems, and that proves a bit deadly as we see a few removals at key moments in the second half, really thinning down the pro elf numbers and forcing them into some risky moves, including a 4+ pass that eventually fails. And that results in a surf and the ability of the Necro to recover the ball and get that safe on a wolf again and take it in for the second score. So some lessons learned in the fragility of Pro Elf armor for Viking Cop, and a well-controlled game overall then from Jester 77 and his Necro, looking pretty dangerous in this division already. And then finally, we had Erwindor with his old brothers in arms. That would be his Khemri, taking a 1-1 draw against the Dr. Nick and Hungry Harmonies, the Orcs. And in that game, well, it was the Khemri drove first in the match with a short kick going up quite tightly along the sideline, but the Khemri were able to recover and cage well. After a bit of re-maneuvering back and forth across the pitch, they eventually were able to eke some space really tightly up the left flank do a bit of a potato play with the thrower, locking down most of the Orcs. And an Orc failed GFI, and then an Orc dodge prevented the sack and the turnover, allowing the casual 5+ out with dodge anyway for the Khemri to score. And really just demonstrating with the Orcs there needing a Goblin in order to be able to attempt the one turn in return there. And on the Orcs drive, we saw the Khemri with good pressure from the kickoff after getting a blitz. You have to wonder with the speed of the Khemri throw whether it was going to be an overcommitment. We also saw the Troll going down to the strength mummy plus strength Tomb Guardian with a both down block. The KO was saved there by the Power Apo, and spoiler alert, we'll see if that comes back to bite the Dr. Nick later in the game. And we saw some action with the Orcs able to get most of the Tomb Guardians tied up further up the field and across the field and push their way down their own left side. And we're even able to take a rather risky, in my opinion, passing play to secure the ball and get it out of the range of the Khemri. But on that same play, we also saw Common Pickles dying to a double failed dodge, and with the Power Apple already used, Pickles is no more. So that was the end of our action from week 1, and we'll take a look at the leaderboard quickly with, of course, Jester 77 with that 2-0 victory taking the top spot for now, and Dreamify's Chaos and Bump's Dark Elves following right on their heels. Of course, the Khemri and Orcs drawing 1-1. You have the middle spots with the Undead, Nurgle, and Elven Union taking up the bottom half of the field. And we'll have a quick look ahead at what the action looks like for week 2. We'll have We See Dead People again, Grimnir Rotgut, going up against the very high heels, the Dark Elves of Bump. And that looks like a pretty decent matchup for the Dark Elves, so I think I'll give that one to them. And same here with some more Elves against a slower team with the Nurgle there. So Viking Cop's Marvelous Mayhem against Old Yella's Wretched Wanderers, as we have to call them now for alliterative purposes. I'll give the nod to my Pro Elf brethren on this as well. Hungry Harmonies, we have of the Orcs of Dr. Nick against Dreamify's Chaos, so a real classic slugfest, but perhaps a good time to get the Chaos before they get a lot of their claw in for the Orcs. But I'd still have to give this one to Dreamify, one of my picks for the season in this division, and we'll see how well he does against handling the Orcs with his somewhat baby Chaos, but they're getting there. And Old Brothers in Arms, the Khemri of Erwindor up against Horror Hordes of Jester 77. Tough one to call on this, but Jester 77 and his Necro have had a good run of it so far, and I'll give them the nod just ahead of Erwindor on this day. All right, take another quick break and come back and take a look at the teams. All right, as we're still pretty early in the season and just at a greenhorn, I won't take a long and detailed look, as we already did most of that last week when we gave a bit of a early season rule over the roost. But I'll take a look at some of the development, at least, that we've had for Dr. Nick and his Hungry Harmonies, the orcs. To my disappointment, they haven't yet picked up a goblin, but there's still time for that and enough money in the bank. The only level we had was on Hamstown, the Blitzer, who picked up Terrifying Piling On. So that'll be clearly his Blitzer that's going to run away with all the cookies. And we've lost the thrower, so it looks like Corn Slippy is going to be the one to use as the ball carrier on this team. And moving on, we've got Erwin Dorr and his old brothers in arms, and we had Narmer, the Tomb Guardian, as the only level on this team, picking up, as you would guess it, guard, not rolling the magic doubles to get block yet, but otherwise a solid looking team with the extra strength there especially. We'll see if the strength beats out the block for that Tomb Guardian second. And Jester 77 with his Horror Hordes, he had one level as well on Mana War on his Fleshy, picking up block, of course. Team's a little bit banged up, but with losing that white, but he's got more than enough in the bank to get that back and get this team back in shape for his next game. Dreamify with Dream Guard, no levels this week, and a bit of a MNG on Need to Pee, but looking good still with those two early block skills on the Chaos Warriors, so I'm sure the rest of the team will come along just fine. Old Yella with his Wretched Wanderers, the Nurgle, not getting... Oh, wait, they did have one. It was Cardell, the Belated Water Boy, picking up block there. So, yeah, again, the Rotters taking the lion's share of the development with both guard and block so far. And Grimner, Rotgut, we see dead people again. Had Kiki the Orator, one of his whites, leveling nicely to get Mighty Blow on that piece. So I'm sure guard will be coming on these guys soon enough as well, picking it up on the Mummy in the meantime already. But yep, solid looking team as well. Viking Cop, no levels this week. Grim down to 9 players, but loners do pretty much just as good a job as the regular lineman there in most of the regards. Having his 3 catchers, needs to get some development now started on Lucy Lightning before the other two get too far carried away. But looking good on the blitzers. Marvin Meteor had a great game, and so he's not far away from his next level. And finally, we have Bump with the Dark Elf team, the very high heels. No levels this week, but really good, solid set of blitzers and linemen. And the Witch Elf, I'm sure will develop in time, but this team will come together quite nicely. All right. That's it for this week. Good luck in all your games next week, and we'll see you all again and see what kind of mayhem was had. Have a good night and a good week, everybody. Bye.